We create over 20,000 ad creatives every month, and 80 to 90% of everything is created with AI. We don't use any UGC creators for majority of them. I'm not saying we don't use them completely, but majority of the time we don't use them at all. And we get a 3% to a 12% hit rate on our ads. This is on a scaling perspective. Now, we didn't just jump from making a couple of hundred ads to thousands all of a sudden. It happened gradually, and there are things that happened and then we came up with solutions with that I would like to share with you guys, so I hope it helps you out. Everything that I share here is very specific to the apps that I worked on. One thing that might work for our apps won't work for yours. This is just a general guideline that you can follow and test it out yourself. So essentially how we got to this level was we had a sudden jump in spend for one of our clients. So we just went from creating a couple hundred ads to a couple thousands, now tens of thousands. And there were some key things that started happening to the ads that we were making that we didn't come across previously. The first thing was, it was very difficult to get winners. Ads that were winners before just wouldn't become winners now. These winners would burn out really quickly, and vice versa. Sometimes a loser ad would turn into winner over time. And we needed to refresh and keep ads fresh all the time, way more than we used to before. And one of the things that I came across was at the start itself, we didn't use UGC creators. Mainly because even back then we were making a couple hundred ads a month, but now we needed to make a lot of iterations and variations of the ads that we make. For example, we would get a winning ad and we would have to make 50 to 100 variations. And one thing that I hate, absolutely hate, is when things are slow. And getting a video from a creator was really slow. I hated it. I had to wait weeks and stuff. So for me personally, it was very difficult for me to do what I'm good at. It made it difficult because I would come up with the idea and I can't wait to execute on it. But for me to execute on it, I would have to wait days, sometimes even weeks, to get very, very simple clips. And some of the apps that we work on require a lot of different faces, a lot of different skin tones, colors, hair textures, and finding that is difficult, and also getting it is even more difficult, which is why we made the shift to focus on AI a lot heavier than we used to before. But after integrating AI very heavily into our process, we were not only able to have fast turnarounds, our ads would perform better, and it was cheaper than opting in for a creator. With our current process, we're easily able to make 1,000 to 2,000 ads a day. So the first step is basically the ideation stage where you have to come up with ideas. For this, we use a lot of ChatGPT, a lot of Claude, and a few other AIs. One thing AI is good at is analyzing it, but you do have to keep in mind, sometimes it spits out bullshit. It spits out bullshit, and there's a specific way that you should act with the AI in order to get the best possible analysis out. But this does help you a lot. For example, if you want to analyze visuals and the copy both, and you've made a shitload of iteration. For example, we've had ads where we've made over 200-300 iterations at a time, and going through every single one of them before was a very big headache. But now we can just use the AI, look at it, and then just see if the AI is accurate. And this really speeds up your process because you don't have to go through everything one by one. But once again, you do have to keep in mind that it does make mistakes. It's not the best. I still do believe we're not at a stage where AI can think for you. I don't think we're there yet, which is why it's really good at stuff like analysis, but not really good at writing. It can give you reference points, but I don't think it's good when it comes to actually writing. Or maybe I'm just stupid and I can't prompt. I don't know, but that's just what I think. We mainly use AI as a point of reference at the ideation or the part where we're writing. There are situations where we can directly copy paste, but most of the time, what it's really good at is being a tool to help whoever is writing the ads write it much faster. Something that typically took us 3 to 4 hours right now only takes 30 minutes to an hour maximum. So that's, I don't know, that's supervision. Right? So that's how we use AI, initial stages where you have to come up with the idea, which is also, I think, the most important part. And I believe it's still at this moment in time, so this is 2025 July, it still requires that human touch. Maybe in the future it might change, but right now I do believe you cannot solely rely on it. And the other thing that I would say would be super helpful is the way AI would give you the output and prompt it in a way where you could fact check it. So whenever it gives you an answer, make sure You tell it to give you references that you can fact check yourself, which I think is important because it makes mistakes. Honestly, it does. So what are the metrics that we look out for? Believe it or not, we only look at ROAS. We don't look at hook rate, hold rate. I don't think those are important at all. Those don't really matter. The only important metric that I personally feel like matters the most is ROAS, whether the ad gets conversions or not. It can have a very high click-through rate and have shit conversions, which is why I don't think there's really a correlation between those metrics and actually getting a subscriber. Where we use AI very heavily would be in the actual post-production process. With Veo recently came out and we are milking Veo in everything. We can use Veo, we use Kling, and there's a few other AI tools that we use that has pretty much cut down the need for someone to film something by, I would say, at least 60-70%, because we're able to prompt it, get it out, modify a little bit on the edit, and then get something out very quickly. So something that would take someone a day or two to film, we could get it done in a couple of minutes. And in terms of actors, if your app requires you to test a lot of actors, there's tools like Flux that you can use to create new actors. For example, we have tested over 200 different faces for some of the apps that we're working on. And you might think, oh, that's useless, you're wasting money. Not really, because changing the face for the app that we're working on has a very high probability of success. And we go for the same characteristics of the face that we're making new ones of. So it's a type of iteration that has a very high likelihood of succeeding. Another thing is AI UGC. I haven't really experimented too much. We recently started experimenting with AI UGC, but I would say it works because whenever I'm looking at competitor ads, I see a lot of people running it, but we are testing it. I can get back to you with the data, hopefully next month, to see how well it works. And I think one of the most overkill ways that you could start using AI would be in actual hooks. So if you want to test different hooks with all these new generative AI, especially for video, you can create anything you can imagine of as long as you can prompt well. That's very beneficial for us. We've actually had hooks that we've created, not from Veo, but from Pika specifically, that have become huge winners. And it's just like the same hook with a bunch of visual effects, and it has worked. And by worked, I mean these ads have gotten well over $200,000 to $300,000 in spend. And one thing we've started doing to really improve the efficiency that we can use AI in, we've taken these APIs of these AI tools and we've made it faster. So something which might take like an hour or two, now we've taken it down to a couple of minutes. So you can start experimenting with stuff like that. And we are also currently building an AI script writing tool, which is able to pull all the scripts and all the ads that we're doing, because when you're producing a lot of ads, it's really difficult. Even when you track it, it becomes really difficult for you to, as a human, process it. So we're making AI tools for stuff like that as well. But yeah, if you want to know more about using AI in your creatives, you can subscribe, because I'm going to drop more videos, or just DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. So I hope you guys found this video valuable. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.